V'nochal mir piryo, and we should eat from its fruits. We should come down to Israel, eat from its fruits, which is a request, which sounds fine. When when this question of this line appears in the Torah in Sif in Simon Reish Ches, the Torah wants to know what's going on with this line. That it's not some established. We say this line. The Torah reminds us of a Gemara in Psota. When Moshe Rabbeinu davened to Kadosh Baruch Hu to enter Eretz Yisrael, he pulled out all the stops, partially the Eschana, and all which attends Moshe Rabbeinu's all-out plea for an override and extension on his sentence to not enter Eretz Yisrael, not to lead Klal Yisrael in, and he begs to enter. And the Gemara there wants to clarify: Moshe Rabbeinu was not entering just to fresh to eat, to sate himself with the fruit of Eretz Yisrael, to eat food there, to get off the man welfare check, as it were, and to eat actual fruit of Eretz Yisrael. He wants to do mitzvos. And so if this is his desire, and eating the food is kind of a grub in Yiddish, a lower, more base request, then it's inappropriate. And when we daven for things, we daven for things that are attainable, things that are reasonable, things that are within a certain modicum of din. For instance, the Gemara says, as Mishnah Brachos, that if someone davens to Kadosh Baruch Hu and praises Hashem that you have such mercy, your mercy extends even to the kansipor, to the bird's nest, that Shluch HaKen, Hashem has mercy on a bird, have mercy on us, so to speak. Mashsikin also. We silence this person. That person's tefillah is to be silenced. He needs to be quiet, taken away from the Amud as a Baal tefillah. Why? My grandfather-in-law, Tosfos Yom Tov, there on the Mishnah in Brachos, says that when you daven, it must be emes. And so when Moshe Rabbeinu davens, he wants to enter Eretz Yisrael. The emes is it cannot be to eat the fruit. And so the kasha is on us. How is that we in the Ashkenazim, for the Ashkenazim, our bracha achrona has been this ba mituvah, the nocham mipiryah. We should eat from its fruits, and this ba mituvah, and be sated. It sounds so lowly, and the Torah says take it out. Most things the Torah says to take out in davening, in our Siddurim, Ashkenazim, it's out. Most things that he says aren't appropriate. Most things are not in our Siddur, in our Nusach. So why is it here? There are three basic answers. One mitzad Moshe personally, one mitzad Eretz Yisrael, one mitzad Klal Yisrael in as a corporate whole. Mitzad Moshe Rabbeinu, alav hashalom, the Koheles Rabbah says, why was Klal Yisrael doomed to wander for 40 years, 38 extra years in the Midbar, 40 years total? Why did this happen? Well, if you ask me, it's because, it's beferish, it had to do with the Meraglim. But the Midrash says no. The reason why Klal Yisrael wandered for 40 years in the Midbar was to give the Canaanim a chance to plant new vineyards, new orchards, and so all the fruit of Eretz Canaan should be replaced by fresh new plantings that are extra delicious and provide much better yield and fruit. And so the question is, we have other psukim that would say otherwise, very, very mysterious thing. And if so, why would they do such a thing? Why? What was the impetus? Shmos Rabbah, on last week's parasha, B'Shalach, explains Shemu Amim, that all the nations of the world heard of the region, heard of Klal Yisrael's escape from Mitzrayim. They were terrified. They knew exactly where we were going, namely to Eretz Canaan. The Canaanim had a scorched earth policy. They're going to come in here. They're going to fight us. They'll find nothing. We'll destroy all of our fields. We'll ruin all of our orchards. They will get nothing. And then, when things turned out to be a longer experience than was initially planned, then the Canaanim were forced to replant. So Kadosh Baruch Hu, as it were, arranged, from a certain perspective, all of which happened with the Meraglim, etc., to give us fresh fruits when we enter Eretz Yisrael. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu, having suffered all of this, and arguably only fell in his avoda as a leader in the 40th year, because he got to the 40th year and was exhausted as a leader. And it's a whole story about what Moshe did wrong in Parshas Matos. During Chukas, it's not blatantly clear what he did. And the Barbanel has 20 odd reasons what he might have done wrong. It's not so clear if you go point for point. Teretz is because he was worn out and he was too holy for the Klal Yisrael, which is still very, very lowly. Had they gone to Eretz Yisrael sooner, he would have been in different shape with a door that was much different in his as a leader, and therefore he would have gotten in probably. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu himself wants to taste the fruit. He wants to taste the fruit, so he wants to have a first-hand encounter with the very reason why Klal Yisrael was delayed for 40 years altogether. That's the Moshe Rabbeinu personal.
The Torah doesn't tell us he was worn out. It tells us almost the opposite.
Well, no, he fell on his face, like he fell with Korach. He was falling. Moshe Rabbeinu.
That he was.
In Parshas Kisisa, Moshe Rabbeinu stands up. Kaviyachol, the Gemara says, grabs Kadosh Baruch Hu by his lapels and shears him a shake with Korach and with the Ma'apilim. Time and time again, in Parshas Midbar, Moshe Rabbeinu is on a very high level. The Am is very low level, and instead of grabbing Kadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol by the lapels, Moshe Rabbeinu is falling on his face and saying, "Oy vei Hashem, kill me." In Parshas Baloscha, kill me, Hashem. That's not the Moshe Rabbeinu of Parshas Kisisa, and it's evident that Moshe Rabbeinu is not that he's on a low level, but the Klal Yisrael, he had this incredible aliyah, and the Klal Yisrael kind of incrementally went up a little bit, and he wasn't ready to. He wasn't on the level on the other direction downwards to deal with them, and therefore he needs help from Zikanim. He needs constant reinforcement from below because he expects the best of them. He's been on Har Sinai. He's glowing. He needs a mask, and the average Yid hasn't progressed that much. And therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu would only have gotten to such a situation had because of the 38-year delay of game. And that's Moshe Rabbeinu personally. In terms of Klal Yisrael Bechlal, the Bach has as a teretz pashut that Eretz Yisrael the fruit of Eretz Yisrael is worth eating. That when you eat in Eretz Yisrael, the fruit of the land of Eretz Yisrael itself is imbued with Shechina. So the Bach there in Siman Reish Ches says that indeed this nusach is warranted in our nusach of Bracha Achrona because indeed we eat with the Shechina, and therefore every bite of fruit which we have here, maybe the beer, Israeli beer, is from Israeli barley perhaps, that it's imbued with some degree of Shechina inherently, innately, the hislapshus of Shechina in that gashmi stick of fruit. And then finally, if you look carefully in the nusach, when we read this, even though the Torah presumes, and all the Meforshim, everyone's busy with this whole sugya in Sota, etc., it presumes, v'nocham v'priyach, it goes on Eretz Yisrael. If you look carefully in the Nusach of the Bracha, it seems that it goes on V'al Yerushalayim Yirecha, Uvnei Yerushalayim Yerkosh, M'her v'Yemenu, V'alim l'Sochoch. So v'nocham v'priyach goes on Yerushalayim, not on Eretz Yisrael B'chlal. And Yerushalayim isn't full of orchards and fruits. It's not full of vineyards, etc. Yerushalayim is where you eat Ma'aser Sheni, and therefore the inyan, the mitzvah, which is the Gemara says teretz, Moshe Rabbeinu did not want to enter Eretz Yisrael to eat fruit, to do mitzvos. In line with this girsa of our Bracha Achrona, there's an inyan of Ma'aser Sheni, that eating in Eretz Yisrael, eating fruit in Eretz Yisrael, being a Yid who lives here, is transcendent. Even though the Bach is correct, perhaps every single bite of fruit has shechina in it, Eretz Yisrael affords us the opportunity to go to Yerushalayim, and almost B'Torah's korban, that the walls of Yerushalayim, eating it lifnei Hashem, the Pesukim Parshas Rei, etc. Pesukim there say that treat Ma'aser Sheni with the same lashonos as eating in the mikdash itself. So it would be makatzer. Bottom line is that living here is no kleinigkeit, and Baruch Hashem Rizochet to eat with the Shechina, to eat very holy things. Baruch Hashem.